Well, I wanted to get into kind of again this one with regards to because that happened after recording your own. Apparently we are in the the 16 days of activism.
Yes.
Kind of sharp. 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
Oh,
yeah. The whole.
Yeah.
So I guess sure the actual day.
Is it the 16 days of children and women abuse?
It's 16 days of activism against children, women and children abuse, I guess. Yeah. Sure. This week. This week. So there's campaigns to kind of shooting up.
Oh yeah. Something like
so there's campaigns shooting up. Campaigns so to kind of Kabelo, as you rightly said, is part of a campaign. No excuse. So they apparently had a panel talk.
Mm-hmm.
He had brought his wife there. There was another actor, celeb actor who had also brought his wife, and then kind of in GBV and these things were being discussed at that event. And then so Kabelo, I think the next day postile a tweet where he was saying, okay, I participated in this, and then he also he used to be a perpetrator of GBV, right? And then I'm hoping this message can provide healing and what or kind of inspiration for those
to come out and change.
To come out and change, and obviously after he dropped that, there was a huge backlash. Huge backlash. A lot of
from the female sphere.
Especially from the female sphere. That think peeps mafia they were out in fucking droves. He shouldn't be the face. He shouldn't be the one. You know what I'm saying? Or heading any fucking campaign. You know what I'm saying? Because according to them, they feel like he hasn't done the work. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't properly accounted. They don't feel like he's rehabilitated. Yeah, they don't feel like he is. So there was no.
How do you say somebody hasn't rehabilitated? Because
there were no fucking parts. So get us why I wanted to hear how you guys think about that, man. How do you feel about Kabelo heading up something like this? Do you think they have a point?
I do think they have a point.
Where?
I think first of all, my disclaimer into this discussion is always going to be that it's one of those that you must never enter into it looking for consensus. You're just looking for different point of views, because I might go here agreeing with somebody else.
Sure.
So I think that's how we need to set the objective, because once we want consensus, we will never get it.
Yeah, and especially in these matters,
it's emotive, it's intangible, it's got a lot of agendas as well, right? So the first thing would be, I'd also like to play devil's advocate. So Kabelo has been very open about that part of his life, even when he was never a part of a campaign.
And apparently he wrote a book. There's a book where he talks about it.
At some point, he even said, I cannot speak for the victim, because if you're not feel stage, now I was talking about my past that included my substance abuse, that included my financial abuse, and it also included women abuse. So that was just who I was as a person.
And he owned up to all of it.
All of it, ne? All of it.
He owned up to all of it.
And then somehow we seem to feel like he's a hero, and it's good for him to share the story of how he beat the drugs. We are happy to give him the accolades there. Then he started running.
Then
give him his flowers there. Ne? So now, but now I'm a family man. I'm raising 2 daughters, and this is what my life is.
I'm a pastor now, bro.
And I'm a pastor now. Ne? But for some reason, you are willing to accept all the other flaws that he fixed. But you are so fixated on this particular one. So let's think about it this way. Let's assume that No Excuse campaign went to Kabelo, and they said, we want people who are public figures because they have an ability to influence people. We would like you to be part of this campaign. About fuck that shit.
How would
you
felt?
guys have reacted? You see?
Yeah, especially let's say if they say they came out back, we approached him.
Why are you not willing to lend your hand? Yeah. Then the leak comes out. Yeah, I don't want I got into the side because Canada. If I maybe I start banging, I'm talking then I want to be exposing myself to a lot of back and forth. I'm not ready for that shit. I don't want to do that shit. He just says that because now he is dealing with it.
He's dealing with it.
If it came out that way,
of course.
With the part that I do agree with, which I'm submitting with it. It's a trigger. Yes, I understand for the type of people that when they see him on a platform being celebrated, you know, I understand why it can be triggering to a person that's a victim. So I do get it. But I just think it must also be nuanced because unfortunately, in the solution to this thing requires both the victim and the perpetrator. Sure. That's my view.
Yeah. Now for me, like, because I take about the backlash. Netiki put like, you know, those sort of questions. Okay, if not him, who? You know what I'm saying? Especially for like this sort of campaign that's trying to reach Majida. Because the no excuse campaign is I no excuse my gang. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no excuse for this shit. From the messaging that I the little bit that I saw from the campaign, that they're trying to reach men. They're trying to that's why they bought someone le Kabelo. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to talk to a man. Yeah, to a man. And then I'm sitting there asking myself, if not him, who? You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of feel like he is the perfect candidate. In my eyes, he seems rehabilitated. You know, a lot of women can come out, yeah, he hasn't done the work, 1, 2, it should be 1, 2, and 3, the steps, whatever. Okay, I hear y'all, right? And I'm not advocating for niggas not to do the steps, but
even if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't rehabilitated?
Yeah.
Okay, if not him, who?
Even if he wasn't. Even if he was still beating his wife. Because the way that I see things, I don't see things in like, you know, black and white. If I'm like, let's say, take Julius. 70% of how that man is, I don't stand for. Right? In fact, no, let me not put it like this. I know that 70% of the things that he fights for he's not going to get. Right? But I'm willing to support his entire ideology because I know there's going to be some trickle down 30% etrosala out of all this work that's happening here.
Okay.
True.
Understand? And that's what I'm looking at the 30%. I'm not going to hop on the fact that, you know, it's impractical for you to be asking for this and that or whatever. I don't concern myself with the technicality.
Yeah, the bravado, the abrasiveness.
You know, changing the constitution is not going to happen.
Revolution, sure.
But there are things that are going to happen as a result of him being there.
Yeah.
And making the noise that he's making.
And those will add value.
And he's loud.
Those will add value. Yeah. So even if this guy was still an abuser, being Kabelo is someone that's respected by a lot of men, especially heard men, right? That are far from any of these progressive talks that are happening in this high society, social media, Twitter space, what the fuck ever shit that we got going on out here. That message is going to reach somebody who will change.
Who will change. Yeah. Because I was even saying the same thing. Kabelo, I take if him not into who else, you know, Kabelo is respected by men, you know, and then Hunale to kind of a girl I was having a conversation with on Twitter, you know, that's the problem. You guys respect men even when they are abusers. You guys shouldn't be concerned. You guys shouldn't concern yourself with the intricacies of how respect amongst men works. Kabelo is respected.
And he's not respected for Shapam Side.
Yeah, and it's not because he's respected for Shapam Side. Yeah, we know who Shapam Side.
Kabelo Grootman in the game.
Hey.
How he carries himself.
Sure.
He's respected.
Sure. Okay, that's the problem. You guys respect men even after it's been shown who they are abusers.
It is a problem. I'm not going to disagree with her.
Hey, no.
But it's not your concern.
It's not your concern. That's what I said. You shouldn't be concerning yourself with how respect amongst men works. And a woman aren't going to be able to understand that in field. I like when Disa says, okay, when Buga Love is someone who's respected in the hood.
And also I like
that nigga will reach someone.
And I also like how because I think in all of these things, that's when it's like an objective. Because people like to argue about things when they don't know the objective. We are trying to reach a man. We are trying to reach a man. And here you are as a woman saying, nothing will ever change because man and this. So now we found a way to reach a man. You have a problem with
how we reach men.
We are reaching a man.
You have a problem with that, and you can't go and use somebody who's not known, who's not known for anything. I mean, there's like different kind of people. There's the person that's contemplating being a perpetrator, given the issues that he's facing. Maybe msadu wa mtella, maybe haspani, maybe habonwe, maybe msadu wa mojalla kore, or like huna ntutse etsalang phelong ba hae wa bona, that could potentially find him at a point where
he's considering that route.
He's considering that route, or he starts taking out these frustrations on
Mossad,
his better half. Then you get the guy who's already in it.
He's knee deep,
he's already in it. Verbally, financially, physically, whatever, emotionally, he's already abusing this woman. And he's living his day-to-day life as if you do not call someone like me, for example, who has no credentials
to talk to that
credibility.
For lack of a better word, when I say credentials,
credibility. Or experience.
No, but yeah, like how so what can you tell me about the feeling that involves the trigger?
Yeah, to get there.
What are you going to tell me? Whereas if I put a bricks in front of that man, let's say maybe we're talking statutory rape.
Yeah.
We put a bricks in front of that man, a man who was in that circumstances, who found himself caught up in that shit. With a man who eventually got charged and convicted and did the time. He went through all of that, all of those
steps.
He went through all of those steps. He can tell you what lies for you ahead. He can tell, even if he doesn't tell you, he can tell
but he can
trust me, my dog, you don't want to find yourself there. I've been there.
Yeah.
You more likely to listen
to that man,
to that person.
He's not the perfect.
You're more likely to listen to an Oscar Pistorius. You're more likely to listen to an Oscar Pistorius. So you saw how that shit went, B.
And he's been open.
So it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
I've been there. Who else to speak to me about this than somebody that has been through this thing? Don't come and give me somebody with a clean image. Don't come and like put a face of LeBron on a poster and tell me stop women abuse. A nigga that's never been caught in any scandal.
Nothing.
In fact, if you do that, you're gonna achieve the opposite because as lecturing us.
We get some kind of
To come and tell us.
Yeah, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, when you take somebody from our community who has been through this, and then has said, I always like this guy Oskido in music. Like most of people, like he's the real hot man, by the way. You know Oskido. So Oskido, when he came up, he was a guy that the corporate never used to take him serious. you know, hapari di suit you know, na kwariwa or hatlini, what, and he built this shit from the ground up. Boma Porisa, they go to that guy for advice. They don't go to a guy who started being an MD in a Sony office.
No. Why would they?
Because they want, you were paid. You were paid, you look good in the suit. Man, how about Oskido? They see themselves like, yo, man, we come from dust.
He went through that.
He went through that.
So when Oskido speaks,
they listen.
When Oskido speaks, 10 out of those 10 niggas,
they listen, bro.
7 will buy it. And that's why today what you then start seeing what most of these youngins say about investor body property, alternative streams of income, because Oskido made it look cool. He showed them that I can come from Kwaito, where I was taught that I don't belong in the corporate. In fact, Kalawa used to never get awards for that shit.
Because currently, well, this is for me. Like a lot of these campaigns, especially like during Nakoena, because now this is the time. I think they always seem as if kid campaigns are basadi. You know what I'm saying? Like you they don't feel like anything that I should involve myself in.
They don't talk to a would-be perpetrator.
Or even men. But my G.
Yeah, which is men. That's what I'm saying.
Sure. Like, well, for me, like the messaging that always comes, I know, that movement.
Tell it Abasadi. The male centered, but women focused campaigns. Kitele, where niggas were posing with lipstick.
Those gimmicky ones.
Not on my watch type of thing, right? Yeah. So you take clean men, like quote unquote clean men, and you put them in front of a camera, you put lipstick on them, and you make them say, you know, not on my watch or whatever like that, you know, and trying to tell, which is all good and well. I'm not pissing on it, by the way. I'm not pissing on that, right? But, you know, there's also the other side. People who don't resonate with these men. You know, and the men that you're actually trying to get to stop this shit.
Majority are there.
Right? Yeah, there's the prevention, yes. You know, trying to get me to stop from, you know, to prevent me from ever getting to that point. But there's somebody that's living like that out there, whose mentality is like that out there. You know, how do you reach that man? You can't reach that man using me, bro.
Yeah. You can't. And a lot of women, I want to say somebody not on my watch, gimmicky, wearing heels and whatnot. You know, they've been shitting on them. Hey, but no, why it's a joke? You know, there's a cosplay abasad. You know what I'm saying? They even call it cosplay abasad. But then I was saying, because in the conversation I was having with the girl, I was saying, okay, you know, the male centric campaigns. Right, that will be more male centric, not necessarily victim and survivor centric or sensitive, are gonna trigger women
by their nature.
By its very nature, it's gonna trigger y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because the conversations that these men are gonna have, they're not necessarily too protective of the victim and survivor. You know, because now we're trying to get into the psyche. You know, let's say for instance, like what Mo was saying, okay, if Kabelo was sitting limjita, let's say Ashapa Msadi, and the way they think, that conversation is going to be triggering the way Babuanga Temba Tuba.
In fact,
you don't want to be there and listen to that conversation.
Imagine
as a woman.
That's why the problem Kabasadi, because now they are coming into this thing where they are not the target. So let's say Kabelo comes and is facilitating a discussion. So Orhumudis, maybe he tells the story. Not this how it started, you know. We can walk out of this and say my contributing factors were money and maybe for you it's something else. The woman was disrespecting you. Now it could be temper. Like there's a myriad of issues.
Why these niggas do
what they Then Hunter Ribuaso so Mudisa Barne, nice because Unaita so. Okay, yeah, no, take me through that. How let me say to my mentor, you're not even gonna reprimand that. Good, you allow him to unpack. Because now this guy has to empathize with you.
And what's about a man will say to you, because if like the story that Tabang is narrating now, at some fun and ignalo kenagatlu, Kutle anjutsa killing useless kate. ka be se ke nkwa ke maikutlo ke mo fotla ka mpa abo monna is able to validate you on that.
Yes. Yes.
And hear it and understand it.
Validate the trigger.
Validate the trigger.
Validate the trigger.
Yeah.
He's able to validate the trigger. That was fucked up. What happened there?
Yeah.
Condemn the act and validate the trigger.
Whereas tabeno how we should Musadi tonga tabeno ka rekin tulung like that should not have been trigger enough for you to have done that.
To have done that.
So what? So what? Just because you was told useless as Mr. Mila Moshapi.
Where's the emotional intelligence? You should be more. Why what?
Mara
Jita, I can hear that.
What's about Khalama this act?
Because he's been through the same thing.
Mara, he's not gonna make you feel like you overreacting.
The same thing.
He's not gonna make you like you
And then now
because he understands what this meant to you. He understands what this woman said to you meant to you. What does to you?
And you see that's why the unfortunate part whenever we talk about these things about the entitlement and gender wars and basadi baratar, you can't compare his wallet to my body,
to my puss.
Then, of course, like they are not supposed to. But the way that the game is currently playing itself out, these two camps are trading off these things. And so we are not saying
they mean something to each camp.
Intrinsically, they are not of the same value.
Yeah.
But we are saying to the point where they will flash the money. To the point where they will flash million. So Harry Buarelika man, I have to understand how desert listen that get off my car type of thing. Bigger Fana Marokasi young one about to Lekinya Kuti. No, high sharp. In fact, we've said that on the pod ourselves.
Yeah.
To say that's fucked up, and we were talking on a hypothetical.
Yeah, we were using hypothetical.
The best thing you can do, Kihorobo. And then there's positive a point out. Yeah, if are in danger that she could be raped or murdered, her odds are better of fucking me.
I said that.
From a risk point of view. If we are assessing risk. Right? So now, Haitor who does, actually you have a point. Right? Now, we're not talking about this nuanced discussion, and you are saying, what you are saying,
you're condemning
coercion. I'm not saying that.
But what I'm saying
as a man, I'm saying, as a man who would have been in a lifestyle where I have been to a club, where I went to spend, with an expectation of this, I can understand why this nigga got to the point where he behaved this way.
But you're not condoning
and I'm not condoning his behavior.
You're not condoning it, but you can get it.
Yes. And I'm not advocating for it.
And you're not advocating for it too. And I can training about the way if you guys want to really reach those men, you guys can't be in those conversations.
Yes. No. They're going to be triggered.
Yeah. In order to trigger, as much as Bona know the trigger Kabelo just being present in that discussion. And he was participating. He was a part. I'm not sure whether he's the face or anything. But he was a Marabagane while the Mufa platform.
I will, however, say that I do get the outrage.
Like I said, I understand.
Like what that guy did. Noni's deaf in one ear.
I don't want to speak on that because it hasn't been made public.
No, it's
no. They were talking about it on Twitter.
They were talking about it.
They were talking about it on Twitter. Yeah, they were talking
it's something
about
that we've known for years.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Noni's deaf, and
I think she even said it at one point in one interview.
One ear, from what I heard, and this nigga never paid for this.
Yes, and his argument is that I can't.
He never paid for this.
Hey, but take yourself to jail.
He never paid for this, and that's a problem.
Yes,
the fact that he never paid for this, it's unfortunate, but it is a problem. It is a sore point. It cannot be ignored.
Yes,
that and the permanent damage. And it prospered.
That's why I said in my opinion, I understand why it would be triggering. For victims in particular. I understand.
So you cannot dismiss that.
Yes, you can't.
That part.
Sure.
But you can't say his participation
but even in that outrage, like that justice is not for them, right? I say no. Justice
It's for women, and it's for women as a whole, bro.
Obviously, she's
it's a scourge against women. Women are tired. So when it
she's
happens to one woman, I mean, you can't say like when Uyinene, you know, may her soul rest in peace. When that shit happened, these women had no right to be outraged because the justice was for Uyinene only. You can't do that.
I hear you. I hear you.
It doesn't. That's not how.
I hear you.
That's not how this thing works. It's a scourge, and you know the women are just fucking exhausted. You know, and you know, when somebody is not in a fit position to engage, you know, in discourse structurally and constructively about something, you just have those conversations away from them. You know, rather than trying to convince them how important this conversation is. You're just not going to change their minds. You know, you just let them vent, and then you just carry on doing what you're doing as Majito on the side. They're well in their right to be making this noise, but you're not going to convince them either.
Now, because of that, that's why a lot of these conversations, especially during this time, are not relatable, Majite.
Which conversations?
Like the
16 days of
the activism that happens during this time.
Messaging.
Yeah, maybe
the campaign messaging that happens during this time.
Maybe the problem is we are not the activists. Maybe the problem is we're leaving it to everybody else to do the campaign.
In fact, no excuses. A corporate campaign.
You understand? Because it's like when I was saying the other time, many episodes ago, Hore, you know, we expect Basari to behave a certain way when a woman is doing something, right? Why don't you have the outrage? Why don't you have an outrage of your own instead of pointing to women and say, oh, why don't you have the outrage? So if you don't like how the campaigning is, and you can see that this campaigning is not speaking to you, and you agree that GBV is a problem that needs to be fixed, why aren't you doing something?
Do the activism. Do it the way that you would like it
why,
to be done.
Why are you not then doing the activism that will mirror what you believe it's supposed to look like?
This campaign, no excuse, with Kabelo as a participant, I fuck with it.
Yeah, and maybe someone realized that the campaigning that was happening wasn't really working.
Yeah,
you know, and maybe somebody just tried a different route.
I fuck with it, and I wish there could be more. So, Mara then, there needs to be an understanding because I understand there's gonna be it's gonna trigger women. I understand what there's gonna be, but I find that it's important, despite the backlash, despite the hoopla and the think pieces. Okay, these sort of campaigns with men we should see more of those. Yeah. I'm saying we should see more of those.
Now also I feel like also putting that 16 days for me should never be a campaign period. It should be a review period. I feel like campaigning should be every day, or the activism should be every day. So let's say if Kabelo was doing this thing along with maybe only the groups go Alex who identify Majita, Huituang. But in that 16 days, we are having a conversation as a nation. You know, not necessarily a campaign. Okay, with project or with campaign X, this is what we managed to do. You know, there's a before and after. You know, here's kids that we used to engage with, and this is their view about women now. And now because now what that does is that it takes away this thing out every time, highly that period. We even focus on cases going up, and then we lose sight of what's been happening for the balance of the year. And if we came there, it's a conversation. We've decided as a country, this is an everyday struggle. But the narrative in that 16 days, it's a review.
Yeah, I think I agree. The 16 days should be based on what we've done in the past year. What have we achieved? What are the numbers now? Then we release the stats.
Yes, then we release the stats.
We look at you know.
Yeah, then we don't get so despondent. Then we can say to Kabelo. Kabelo was given 10 groups to work with, and then he created what do they call it? A replication or a scaling up by identifying community leaders. Majita, Kebo Mama, Kebo Nababuanda, na vele besiso.
These are the government departments that were approached,
that we are working with.
These ones said no.
These ones said no. This one, these ones pledged 1, 2, 3. Out of the 10 that they pledged, this is how much they've been able to achieve. That's
it's
what it should.
16 days of review of how far have we gone. In this community, every time there's a GBV case o tlamehile o be le a direct line to the superintendent of that thing. That's your job. So every day you report. Wa bona hona le mechanism e sharp. Ka 16 days you re batla report.
Jelle Mara, speaking back to point A more, and I agree obviously into where he says, okay, you know, the fact that Homie hasn't paid for this thing that he's done, and which was a really sore point. A lot of women, you know, it's like those to kind of king post Barane, he should send himself to jail.
Yeah,
things, you know. What is the kikaring the reparations for niggas like that?
There isn't.
But I think for the campaign owners, for the campaign, I would say, for credibility, it's better to go for somebody that's paid for those sins. At the very least, take a job.
Sure,
if you have
to
go in a campaign,
drinking and driving.
Yeah. I don't know if substance abuse ended up being,
yeah.
You know, yes, we
understand the time.
We understand the thing, like what 7 we understand that culture, and we saw what it got him into. I think he's the right person to speak to that demographic.
Sure,
but he's also got the credit because he's walked the talk and he
did the time.
He paid for it.
And he did the time.
Now, does that mean it's not triggering to the families that feel that even him, the time he spent in jail was not sufficient because he's a celeb? They are well within their rights to feel that way.
Yeah, the examples...
Here you are giving campaigns on TV every day. You being on TV every day is triggering us.
Yeah.
So we understand. So we are not saying we are also not saying the family cannot stop the work that also needs to be done because
yeah, because we can understand.
We can understand and empathize and understand. What we shouldn't do, we should not invalidate the families' triggers.
Yes.
And how they feel about. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But Libona, they cannot necessarily say work does not have to happen with this guy that represents something else to them, but can in the broader society can help the messaging land so that another family does not find itself like them. So yeah. So I think with Kabelo that would be the unfortunate part.
It's better if it's somebody that is paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no
reparations. Yeah.
Nah.
There's no reparations. Yeah. Because no man, there must be justice, there must be accountability, there must go steps of the work. You know what I'm saying? Justice, accountability. You know, kind of what you're saying, remorse.
Who's that?
No, Kim on Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah, so we were just having a conversation. What better man? Are someone that did the work? What sort of work? And then
But how would you even know if that person did the work?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, all you'll ever know is that I went to jail for it. This is how much time you know that I did, according to what was in the media.
Yeah.
But as far as me having been to therapy or whatever, like, should I have documented that for you? Should I have, like, I mean... Yeah, I think that's unrealistic.
That's unrealistic.
Yeah, to have like a checklist of things that you can't pay for that. You don't pay for that. You know, that they keep saying that, but there isn't a single, you know, ex-perpetrator that's seen in a good light by women today. Regardless of how much work you've done. Once you've gone to shit, you've gone to shit.
Yeah.
How now I say la hook?
Yeah.
And they say maybe you're a unicorn like President Jacob Zuma.
Yeah.
That's a unicorn.
But by and large, you go to shit.
For an average,
by and large, you go to shit.
Yeah, by and large, you don't come back from that.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Because it
doesn't matter how much work.
Even when a man has gone through them, you still want to accept them back in society.
Yes.
Because for me, then that's rehabilitation, right? I'm now been able to come to be in a loving relationship. Had
it been women that Jub had ran over, they would have never let him back on TV.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have let that nigga back on TV.
True, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, it's a point.
Yeah, it's a
they
point.
wouldn't have let that nigga back on TV.
It's a point.
Yeah.
It's a point.
But there weren't enough of us outraging about these kids when this nigga was released. And now he was getting gigs. And then there's a whole show syndicated
Yeah, whole show like, nationally.
Yeah.
And he's back in the good graces.
Kids died. Kids died. Right. So, it reminds me of that thing that Chappelle said. You know, that the baby killed a nigga.
Got away with it.
Yeah, he killed a nigga.
It
like
was not enough to kill his career.
It's a murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The baby killed a nigga.
Yeah.
In self-defense, yes, but the baby killed a nigga. That wasn't enough
to cancel his career.
To shake his career,
Yeah.
But what he said on stage about this protected group, was enough to change everything.
And now you're throwing your cards. All the panties are.
This nigga killed 5. How many killed? 5
kids? 4,
yeah,
6.
I saw how many kids it was, but
between the two of them,
it was a bad accident. It was a bad accident, bro.
That wasn't enough for him not to get reintegrated back into society. If it was women, I'm fine.
Yeah, because who's advocating for the kids, bro?
No ways. It wasn't going to happen, bro.
Who's advocating for the kids? Because women are looking out for themselves.
It wasn't going to happen. And funny enough, when we speak about like, you know, the conversations and the narrative surrounding GBV, it always includes kids. It's women and children.
Women and children. Yeah.
There's even a ministry in it.
Because for some of these campaigns that we want to see, they're just going to have to be spearheaded no matter the reaction. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see more of it. But I know there's going to be a lot of backlash.
Yeah, I personally don't care for campaigns. I think they played out. I've said this before. I think campaigns are played out. I think niggas are not going to change. Like I joked around the other episode that, you know, every stride that you think you make, there's somebody undoing that shit.
Escape.
You know when you wind the clock. Every stride that you think you're making, somebody's undoing that shit. Because
by and large, some of things is
we have a culture. We have a culture
that's deeply entrenched.
We have a culture. This culture is not going to change. This culture is not going to change. We have a culture. There's certain aspects of our culture that are okay. That are okay in this vacuum when this culture doesn't come into contact with other cultures. You know, within this culture of ours that's in a vacuum, you know, it's well understood that everybody has a position and role in society. You know, it's understood that these are the things that he's allowed to partake in. These are the things that he doesn't do. Right? This is the role that he plays in society. He's placed in a leadership position by virtue of his gender. Right? Everything else then he has to prove to show that he actually deserves. But he's placed there by default. We know that this is the position that the woman plays in society. Right? These are the things that she's able to partake in. These are the things that only she partakes in. Right? And we know that she is, by and large, subservient to the man. And then there are the kids. Right? We know that this is how child rearing works. Right? The father is not very present. The father is not very present in the upbringing of the kids. Right? He will be here and there, but by and large, the woman is the person who's
the primary
responsibility of raising the child lies in the woman. Now and then, because you know the man might have a lot of kids, he might take a liking to one or two of them. Who might be more closer to him than the other kids are. But he acknowledges them all. You know, and they all partake in the inheritance after he dies. But we know that the first son is the one who ideally takes over the estate. Then that's why the father will take particular interest in him, because he's trying to make sure that
he's grooming him
after he's gone. So he teaches him certain values. This is how you know, and how you take care of your wife. Certain values that you know how that's our culture. It's very hard to undo those things, right? Then in comes maybe another culture, for example. Let's say the Western culture. The Western culture has similar traits, but with a bit more fluidity. Right? Now, this fluidity doesn't mean that now in my head I all of a sudden start seeing a woman as my equal. Right? You might have taken me away from home to go work in the mines, but even in my absence, I'm still the head of my family. Right? So when I come back with the little that I have, because I've lost everything but I haven't left, I have nothing in my name. I still expect that deference when I walk in the house. Yeah. And when I walk in the house and I don't get it, something will be paid. You understand?
There'll be wrath.
Yeah. There'll be wrath. Ilori, in the absence of our exposure to these other things,
it wouldn't have gotten there.
It would not have gotten. That's exactly what I'm trying to get.
It would not have gotten there.
It would not have gotten there. But now we are faced with all these situations.
Hey, man.
You understand? And now they start to manifest themselves in a way that they were never intended to.
Even the way we ventilate over them, it's on platforms with the language, with the nuance of Western.
Yes. And niggas don't understand this shit, bro. Niggas don't understand this shit. And like, you know, we are getting so educated, you know, and the women especially are getting very educated. They're well learned, they're well spoken, you know. They are not called the think piece mafias for nothing. It's people that can speak and write and articulate themselves.
Wow.
This is what they do. Yeah. They're fucking brilliant at it. And people like those, in terms of their mental progression and their assimilation to Western ideals and equality and all of these things, these are people that have really taken it in stride and they try to ensure that everybody else learns these things. Right? Yeah.
As well.
But it's a losing battle. Right? You will not go and teach my father that he's an equal to my mom, bro. It doesn't matter how many theses you write.
You see, for me, 100 campaigns don't work. In marketing, we always say, what is the insight before we come with the campaign so that it solves?
Yeah.
It solves for that. So that's why I get it. This thing should be a year long so that somebody goes into what are the attitudes? What informs these things? So now, Utlaka campaign that assumes you're all on the same level.
Like, yeah, like you can't. It's a culture. Like, if in 2021, we still having debates about whether it's okay or not to leave a girl or kick her out. Because Ohana whole guy.
Yeah, on the streets.
Like, you know, amongst the youth, if we are still having that discussion amongst the youth, it's quite clear that there's an entrenched culture of ownership.
Entitlement.
At any given point in time, it's mine. Even before we get to the entitlement part, it's mine, right? Like this utopian ideological idea that I should have compassion and decency for each and every one of y'all is far-fetched.
It's not grounded in reality.
It's ideal, but yo, I don't fucking know you. I don't care about you. When I'm trying to get about the and you and I had a social contract. When I'm taking 18 and and there was something else that I was expecting in return. You did not live up to your end of the bargain. Fuck you. And that's the culture. It might not be a fuck you culture, but it's a social contract culture. That's why in Africa we have so much problems with corruption. Nothing is for free, Baba. For the betterment of society, or who am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Who am I doing this for?
Fuck that.
That's why the Western corporations had such a hard time to even spark up business here, because it was so difficult to get into African government.
Because of the black tape. Because of the black tape.
It's not something that came up corporate.
Sure.
It's in our culture.
Yeah.
I've got what you want.
Yeah. And
you understand?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there. Sure. So it's a culture. So that's why I'm saying, like, campaigning for me is really like, I got to a point where I realized that campaigning actually doesn't work because you're trying to change the mental models of people. I'm not interested in trying to change your mental model. I'm interested in punishing you for the shit that you do. I'm interested in punishing you so hard that it deters you.
It deters you, yeah.
That's That's my interest. Right? I'm interested in punishing you, and I'm interested in preventing you. Right? And that's my emphasis. That's my emphasis. I'm interested in making sure that the docket when they get into the system.
Yeah.
But to tell there's a grown-ass man or how you must look at a woman.
I'm interested in making sure that these women don't drop charges after they find out or I'm interested in trying to keep this nigga away from this girl so that he doesn't intimidate her to the point that she ends up dropping the charges. I'm interested in making sure that you actually get convicted and the policemen do their jobs, or the rape kids don't get lost or get fucked up, or the doctors are equipped enough, or the policemen.
At some point, that creates a deterrent.
Yeah, it
does. Those things.
Yeah.
That's the system. The value chain needs to be fixed. I'm not interested in trying to make you view women as people that you're supposed to love so much that you wouldn't even consider leaving them at the side of the road at 2 a.m. because I know fuck. I failed that mission. And why am I still working on it 10 years later?
And it's slow, bruh. I mean,
throwing resources.
Throwing resources at it.
That sort of model, like the talking, the what, you know, it works too slow. It's too slow, bro. It's too slow.
Why am I still throwing money at this thing, bro?
Because as a culture, obviously, like, we can have conversations, you know, like the conversations that we're having, you know what I'm saying? To try to tell people, okay, like, these things, the wrong. Mara, it's such a slow burn, bro. It's such a slow burn. But then, by
Maurice's virtue, then I understand where women are coming from. Because that's what women are saying. We are not interested in, we are interested in seeing justice.
Yeah,
that's what the women then are outraged about.
Go. Nobody cares, bro. That's why, you know, then it becomes a societal responsibility thing. You know, you don't have to believe. Oh, this woman should not have been hurt. But by mere virtue of knowing that Des hurt her and you did nothing about it, if we as the state find out, you're gonna fall too. You don't have to care for her.
It's for the betterment of the community. You witness some shit happening.
Then everybody, it becomes all of our problem. That's what I'm interested in. This other talking, lipstick.
The justice, not that behavior.
There is no talking to niggas.
So actually, we need to actually see more lobbying there. You know what I'm saying? To government. You know, a lot of these women groups, ribone, a lot of lobbying in government.
And you look
because that's where the change is gonna come in.
Because you look at even the Ministry of it's Women and Children. It's a ministry, bro. It's
a ministry, sure.
That already tells you, the leadership did not think about this. That's a desk. We ran this campaign. Have a report. We ran this campaign. Take all those fucking resources, put them in the justice. Put either more cops, like put them either in the prevention or in the
train the cops. Because I wanna
behavior is a very
even the most progressive of us. There's a shopping basadi. Where it looks, you know, all hunky-dory and equal, working towards something, couple goals type of shit. Even us, in fact, there are certain things that don't land the same when a woman says to you. It's an entrenched. There's an entrenched.
It's entrenched, bro.
There's an entrenched patriarchal mental model that I just cannot shed. It's my very essence.
Sure.
The same with women.
How similar to
hey, ho na le ntho tse itseng tsa tla ga mara ntho ne etswa ke monna enana.
And by virtue of that,
I ntwena I hona ke mosebetsi wa monna o.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Go antsale.
Sure.
Mara mo I'm not supposed to be doing this shit. I'm not doing this shit. This is a man's job.
Yeah, I know, for real.
Yeah,
for real.
That's why like there's a culture and mental model that's deeply entrenched.
Culture and biology.
That campaign is not going to do anything to change, bro.
Yeah, I know. I change that thing slow.
I need to force you. It's in Tuna. No, you treat okay, okay, now create house.
There's
Then
a consequence. Yeah,
Umuntu
there's a
usayarata.
consequence.
My job is not to make you love it. No.
It's to make you do it.
Yeah, do it. Come on.
And if you don't do it, there will be consequence.
Hey, my job is not to make you love it. My job is not to make you feel that it's okay when a man says fuck you as opposed to a woman says fuck you. No. My job is to put the fear of God in you. Or if you retaliate against this woman different from how you would retaliate to a man,
And actually that's a very important distinction, because we feel like we need to get you to do something enthusiastically. Like you would as your natural.
Sure.
And we are too fixated at that. How, especially in relationships, we eat in Tony. We eat. Marabasari babatle to ring you around the knuckles for not doing it enthusiastically. Now I'm doing it because it's important to you.
Yeah.
You have let's say
but I ain't gotta like this shit.
Movie. We never watch movies together. Well, look, bitch, I don't like movies, so I'm not gonna be looking at this movie enthusiastically and laughing. And I don't find it funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this motherfucking
I'm
thing.
here because movies are important to you.
Yeah.
And I know the consequences of not watching movies with you. So I don't want to pay that consequence.
I'm here.
So I'm here. So your job is not to make me look enthusiastic.
Yeah.
You got what you wanted. And you would have been the consequence if I didn't do it. So I'm here. So accept that there's a ground I've seeded.
Yes.
Yeah, Maro.
Yes.
Accept that there's a ground that I've seeded.
They want you.
There's a contradiction. There's a contradiction because I consequences.
Sure.
I don't want to call you tell you I'm late.
I feel you, man.
It's not naturally. I'm
not wired like that.
I'm not wired to report to you.
Yeah, I know. I feel you, bro.
But I'm doing it. So let's say I'll be late. Just like that. How? How do you want it to be? Because your job, you are trying to make me do it enthusiastically.
Yeah, they want you to love this shit.
I'm gonna be late.
Yeah, and we don't, my G.
And I'm not going to be consistent either. Because sometimes I'm going to be like, actually, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
There'll be nights where we like, actually, fuck this shit. Why am I reporting?
Today I'm happy with the consequence.
Today fuck. I'm not doing it today.
Because you
know, maybe I might do it.
Yeah, I might do it again.
But you know, there's an important thing about that, like from a biology point of view, is that when you are wired a certain way, it means you also rob yourself of who you truly are to coexist with people, right? So you rob yourself of naturally who you are to coexist with people. So sometimes moments of rebellion is to pay yourself back.
Yeah.
True.
Exactly.
So it's not because
Yeah.
it's like work, bro. There's times where fuck, I'm gonna be late.
Yeah.
Because naturally I'm stealing from myself to give myself to this company. You know the rules. SMS and then keep today we all know that. It's because naturally because I'm taking something from myself.
Yeah, man.
I'm robbing myself every day.
Yeah.
So even relationship is like that. So sometimes it's when now your essence is fighting with you. Like that's your essence. Your essence is competing with this.
Fuck.
Hey,
I can't tell you too much.
Fuck.
She'll run it
you
back.
owe it to yourself to recalibrate.
Yeah,
then what then ends up is that then you build enough guilt in the system to then the following weeks. It's a system, you know, we keep pulling in something, we feel like guilty, overcompensate. But now you are juggling these two people. It's my wife or my woman and my essence.
You know what I'm saying?
At some point my wife is so happy, ne? But my essence is not. So essence.
Yeah.
So that when I do things that my woman wants me to do, the only way I can do them is enthusiastically, is if I overcompensate. But that is because I know I have satisfied my essence.
But I'm good now.
It's human.
It's a I know I hear.
topic.
Yeah, I know. You repeal a lot. The Dojo.